Hey there, my name is Ade and this is the GOAJ podcast. Um, I'm basically just going to talk today about things. That's very specific, great job. Um, Give me a moment, right. So I jumped right into this because of course I did. Um, I'm thinking that I should veer away from scripted episodes because they're nice and short and sweet, but they kind of eliminate quite a big part of my personality, which is, struggling to speak like a proper person. And also the little chuckles. I don't know if that's endearing or if it's completely annoying, but that's up to you to decide. Um, like I said, I was just going to talk about things. Wow, I really can't think of another word to describe, another adjective that would perfectly sum up what has been going on. But either way, I have not posted anything on Glass of AJ that is Glass of AJ related for a while. And I feel kind of guilty about that. I've spoken about this before, I think in a post that I pretty much gave a weird title to, but I called it We Live in a Society. Mainly because I felt like I couldn't really reintegrate into society because, I've, like other people, have been, staying away from public places and from people in real life and, like, not, probably not doing my best to speak to my friends and family and whatnot, which isn't good, but it might be good for other people. It all depends on your situation, but I feel like it definitely hasn't been like the best thing for me. I think mainly because I have sort of regressed into my state before. So when I started Glass of AJ, I was unemployed. The story isn't different now, it's just a different type of unemployment. But I hope the plosives aren't really bad on this. I say that because I'm basically not going to edit this. I'm going to have it as raw as possible because I've actually come to realize that I actually like raw podcasts more than scripted ones because there's a lot of personality that comes out of, actually hearing someone work through sentences and think of what they're actually going to say. I mean, there's a bit of editing involved anyway because there are going to be pauses and whatnot, but I actually really appreciate that to like kind of be part of someone's thought process. Anyway, I feel like my shorter podcast episodes basically missed out on that and they were, short and easy to listen to, but I feel like maybe they left a bit to be desired because they were so short. They probably would have been better as YouTube videos because then you'd watch it for a short amount of time and go about your day. When you're watching something, your attention is on the thing you're watching most of the time. But when you're listening to a podcast, you could be doing something else at the same time. So for a short, ridiculously short podcast of like 4 to 8 minutes, it kind of makes it feel like, well, that went by a bit quick, or maybe it didn't. Maybe it felt like an eternity listening to me. But I feel like there should be an element of my personality within what I'm saying instead of just me saying stuff. And I feel like I didn't actually portray myself as myself. This is very confusing. But either way, I'm doing this right now because I've basically had a long week of feeling absolutely rubbish, of realizing that, hey, I've got a million things to do and I'm not doing any of them, and I've got no energy to do all of them. I've been sleeping in the middle of the day a lot. I've basically just been avoiding the concept of work, and it's kind of terrible. Like, I mean work in the sense that I'm furloughed, so I'm not working for a company, but I mean, so I've mentioned in blog posts and whatnot that I'm an apprentice. I have an apprenticeship to do. I have college work to complete. I have an email from my assessor that I've still not opened, and he sent it, I think, on like Tuesday. No, he sent it on Monday. I was thinking, why is he working on a bank holiday Monday? But yeah, now it's technically almost 2 a.m. on Saturday, but that's besides the point. I've basically avoided doing college work, which isn't good because that's probably one of the promises that I made to myself, that I would do this, because what else do I have to do? Other than that, because of the whole furlough situation, I have also been prodded and asked by other people, but I've come to the conclusion that, looking for another job wouldn't be the worst thing in the world, and it would probably be quite a good choice to make, because it would allow me a safety net just in case, I'm not called back ever, because this furlough situation for me has been going on since the 1st of April. It is now the 5th of September. So, yeah, it's been a while. How many months is this? Wait, how many months? No. That I'm not counting 5 months. No, hold on. Hold the flip on. Because, oh my God. If it's been that long, I'm actually really ashamed of myself for not doing anything about this. But I feel like I held on for hope more than anything. And also there was an element of fear for going back into the job searching thing. Excuse me for the abrupt pause just then. I basically almost choked on nothing. So that's perfect. But yes, there was an element of fear of going back into the job searching market, of going back into the job market, of going back into the status of searching for a job. So obviously I didn't want to do that because I grew an attachment. Yes, that is the sentence I was trying to say. I grew an attachment to the company that I was employed by. And I feel like it would have been a good place to stay, but I feel like in this life, and especially in this beautiful year of 2020 that just keeps on throwing punches, it basically seems like it shouldn't be the one thing I should be doing, staying attached to something. I should just be as flexible as possible, because that's what this year is asking of me, for my flexibility, for my resilience, for all sorts of crap, which is completely is complete crap. It's rubbish how the whole world has basically been turned upside down, and how much people are suffering and whatnot, and it's just crazy. Like, every single week there's just another thing to hate about this planet, and it just upsets me greatly. But other than that, yes, I need to think about other options instead of holding out hope for a company that at the time when I was put on furlough, I'd only been working for them for about 4.5 months. So at this point, I've been on furlough for the same amount of time, around about, as I was working there. So that's really weird. Yeah, I would have almost been done with, well, I kind of am. Like, I think I'm over halfway done with the apprenticeship, but we'll see what happens. I have to have a decision before the end of October. So by then I'll know if I'm staying or if I'm definitely going, and hopefully by then I'll definitely have a place lined up if need be. Or if I decide, hey, maybe I actually want to get a higher salary if I'm able to, because it was already a stretch on 16k, especially with the rent that I'm paying, which is already quite high. So, because London. So yeah, it's going to be a big decision, but when it comes down to it, I'm going to have to make it either way. There's no escaping it. There is a time limit on this sort of grace period I've been given, so yeah. But yeah, this week it's just been the stress of needing to do my assignment for college. It feels like it's never ending, but we'll get there. Needing to set up a plan to, actually start looking for jobs again, to have all my like resources lined up so that I can fill out applications as efficiently as possible. And the pressure of not posting enough on my website, because I feel like, why the hell did I make it, and why the hell did I like come up with this promise to myself back in January as like a New Year's resolution to at least post one thing a month and then not do it? I feel like that's like, I'm really bad with promises when it comes to myself as a person. When it's for someone else, I do my best to make sure that promise is never broken. But when it comes to me, even if I've made that promise with someone else, it's really hard to keep it, because I don't know why, because I feel like it may be a case of, hey, maybe I actually don't deserve to do this for myself or something like that. There's probably some level of internalized antagony is definitely not a word, but like I'm going against myself for some sort of reason. I don't know why. It's probably to do with my low self-esteem or something, but still, it's really bad of me to be like, I've made a promise to myself, I'm gonna break that promise to myself. I think maybe it's because there's like a lack of accountability that comes with it, because it's me. Like, if I break my own promise, I can only be angry at myself, and then that's it. Like, no one else is really going to be affected by it, unless someone else could be affected by it. I mean, when it comes to searching for jobs and making sure that I have a stable income, it's not just for me, it's also for my sibling, because we live together and we both are responsible for rent and stuff. And I don't want to put all of the pressure on them to, pay for stuff, because they don't earn enough like for that, and that's crazy. I don't want to be a burden again. Like, I'm so sick of that. I really want to be independent. That's all I've ever wanted, and it's just really annoying that it's never come to that, really. It's always been, I need help from this place, I need help from that place. So hopefully, this next job searching adventure will lead to more autonomy and more independence, especially when it comes to my finances, because that's all I ever wanted, seriously. Since starting uni, I was like, hey, I need to get a good job after this, and then it just never materialized. So I'm gonna have to try my best within this next month and a half, I'd say, to secure a position that can provide a closer step towards that, if not provide it straight up, for me to, at least be comfortable enough to save up money, because I'm not really able to save right now. I'm trying my best, but there's only so much you can do when most of your disposable income that would have come from not traveling to work goes straight back into groceries and additional bills. So yeah. But I feel like it all came to a head, with me feeling crap this week and feeling guilty about not doing anything, and to me actually like recording this right now, when I was feeling a little bit like tilted and dizzy for some reason, decided to lie down on my bed, and I guess I sort of went a bit introspective and realized that, hey, maybe I should just do it. And I feel like I've adopted that sort of mentality more recently than I realized. Like, I probably used to be someone who planned out every single step and went by the book all the goddamn time before I got to, I'd say, second year, third year of uni. When I got to that point, I was just like, you know what, I'm just going to do stuff how I can do it. Like, if I can do it, I will do it. If I can't, I won't. But I'll go at my own pace. It doesn't have to be to a schedule, blah, 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 because, it's kind of impossible for me to do that, because at the end of the day, like, I think I've overworked myself in terms of the particularness of my, like, personality, if that makes sense. Like, I went a bit overboard with this has to be that and that has to be that, so much so that now there is no semblance of schedule or rigidity to my life anymore, if that makes sense. I don't know. I feel like I've said "if that makes sense" a million times just now, so it probably doesn't make sense. hopefully hopefully it made sense. I'm really struggling to like what I'm doing right now. But yeah, segues. I am now trying to just do it, because if I'm feeling upset about not making something, the only way to fix that is to make the thing that I'm upset for not making. So if that means making a post on my website, I will try and do that in the form of like a podcast. Here I am speaking about, or at least trying to speak about, the barriers I've had. I feel like the barriers that I've had this week are mostly mental, but they've like sort of manifested into physical things, like, you know, feeling tired and feeling really low and dizzy and all sorts of craziness. Like, yeah. Oh god. I don't know. I was going somewhere with the sentence and it just went shoop, out of my head. It's a very common occurrence. This is a very common occurrence. But yeah, I sort of snapped out of the dizzy spell by saying, you know what, just do it. And just, you know, record something, even though it's starting to sound pretty messy to me right now. And I'm going to force myself to not edit it, because I feel like I get really into editing stuff. I feel like that's okay, but also it's like really annoying to listen to stuff over and over again and realize how much I dislike the way that I speak, which isn't a nice thing to realize or to think about. Like, it's not a nice stance in the first place to not like your own voice, because it's my voice. I can't necessarily change it. Although right now, I'm not sure if it's actually that noticeable, but I've not been speaking a lot over this whole like lockdown, quarantine time, using my voice. I've been texting people a lot more, obviously. So, because phone calls, eek. Yeah, so there may be like slight fluctuations in my voice, but I feel like there are slight fluctuations in most people's voices. Like, if you think about it, when you talk to certain groups of people, your voice sounds different. So my voice would sound different when talking to a friend or talking to a family member or talking to a customer service person over the phone, or, you know, while I'm recording this. But I feel like I've now gotten twangs of different accents in my voice. I'm like losing my own accent, which doesn't make sense, but still, it's probably because over this whole period I've been like watching a lot of Australian Twitch streamers and YouTubers, and it's like, okay, that's my it's integrating itself into my accent, that sort of twang. So if I do sound a bit Aussie, I'm sorry. It's an honest mistake. Well, not a mistake, but like it's just because I'm that type of person who absorbs the way that other people sound, which is why I like to do like little voice acting-y things, not on a professional scale or like any recorded stuff, although I plan to eventually. But even just like within my voice, there would be times where I'd be like, hey, I want to sound Scottish, or hey, I want to sound Australian, or hey, I want to sound French or something. I don't know, just picking different types of accents. Obviously those are broad generalizations, and like not everyone in a certain country sounds the same, but still it's fun at times to escape my voice, I guess. That's what that is. But yeah, I basically got to a point where I was sick of not doing things and feeling bad for not doing them. because I'm actually putting that pressure on myself. It's what I've talked about before in like previous blog posts, where it's like self-induced panic or SIP, where I am putting pressure on myself to do something, whether it's something that I need to do in the context of completing a qualification, like my college work, or something that I need to do to progress my career, like job searching, or something that I want to do, like make a post for my website. Yeah, it's just inducing a stress that doesn't actually need to be there. It's just something that I'm putting on myself because I feel like, oh, I need to do everything. I need to do this, do that. I need to be functional, human adult. And that's not really always what people are. Like, you don't have to do stuff 24/7. It's impossible. And you shouldn't be upset or ashamed of not doing something according to an arbitrary schedule you put in your mind. It does sort of change when you have like an accountability partner. My oldest sister wanted to be that for me when it came to job searching, and I just couldn't, because it was just so difficult to not only do the job searching but to also report back to her about that stuff. And it's just like, I really can't. Like, it's just, it adds pressure on top of the SIP. So it's like, why did I do this? Why am I here? Why is this happening? But yeah, basically. I've got like silly arbitrary notes in my notebook that I'm referring to, I guess, but obviously it's not as clear as I would want it to be. But yeah, just vague bullet points. But I will move on to... Yes, okay. So I mentioned that I was upset for not actually like posting anything on my website last month. But the fact of the matter is I've posted stuff elsewhere. So it's not trash, it's not terrible, but when you think about the stuff that I've posted elsewhere, it's for the other username that I have. So I go as Add a Glass of AJ or whatever on a lot of platforms, but then I also have Simple Thimbles, which I found out actually, like, someone else has that. Okay, so I wanted to buy simplethimbles.com. Someone else has that website, and it's actually for crafting and stuff, which is cool. Like, they have a business, I think, where they teach people, or like have like little fun classes that you can do as events and whatnot, to like do sewing and crafts and whatnot, and that's really cute and sweet. And that's the sort of essence that I wanted for Simple Thimbles as like a YouTube channel. That's why I chose the name. I wanted to like do crafting projects and whatnot, but I just never got around to it, because I wanted to focus on uni and whatnot, on college even. At the time it was my A levels when I made that account, so yeah. I, for that persona online, I basically started streaming on Twitch and Omelette Arcade. So my laptop isn't the strongest laptop. It struggles, and I love it, but I love my laptop. That's what I'm trying to say. I don't love the fact that it struggles. But there's only so much you can do with this little bad boy. So the way that I have been streaming is using an app called Omelette Arcade, where you can literally stream from your phone the mobile games that you have on there, which is really cool. I thought streaming was just not an option for me because of my computer hardware issues. But I've now realised that, you know, you actually can still stream as long as you have a phone that runs Omelette Arcade, I guess. You can also use Omelette Arcade on desktop, but you would need like Streamlabs, OBS, or like XSplitter to be able to broadcast your game. I've tried those on this particular laptop. I know this laptop has weaker specs than my other big one that I try not to use too much because it's quite delicate, because it's older. But it just did not work. XSplitter didn't work. It basically took a million years to open and then didn't actually like work whenever I clicked things. Like I had to click things twice in order for like a single click to register. It was a bit funny. Streamlabs is a little bit slow and quite unresponsive as well, but not as bad as XSplitter. OBS I already have on here, which is way more responsive, but it always has like video encoding issues, even when I'm just recording, not streaming, which is just, it's annoying. But either way, yes, Omelette Arcade has been the way that I've been able to stream on Omelette Arcade as well as Twitch, because you can connect accounts. I could also stream on YouTube if I wanted to, but I've not decided to do that. But I've only been playing like casual games on there, like Bubble Shooter, Picture Cross, and Condenser. So yeah, not like PUBG or Fortnite or anything like that. Although you actually can't play Fortnite anymore. They removed it from the Google Play and Apple stores, right? Because of an ongoing legal battle. I'm not sure if it's actually been cleared up yet. I should research that. But yeah, Epic Games have been playing some epic games, if you know what I mean. They've been trying to play the system, trying to, you know, either fight for the justice and victory of small app developers, or just try and get their coin, because 30% of their earnings being taken by Apple is actually quite crazy. But I'll probably research that and correct myself if, you know, they actually have put Fortnite back on Google Play, because the media has always been like thinking, oh, it's Epic versus Apple, and it's like, whoa, that actually is quite a cool like matchup if you think about it. But it's probably only cool because of the word epic being involved. Although I feel like the word epic did lose its meaning because it was overused from like 2008 until like 2012. And then it just was, oh, when you say the word epic, stop it, man. That's just so lame. Basically. Yeah, I use filler words a lot. This is why I edit myself. But we're going to work through this, and hopefully it's not as terrible as I think. But yeah, I'm not playing like really big, hardcore gaming type games on my phone. I'm not like playing League of Legends. Can you play League of Legends on mobile? I mean, you might be able to. Can you play Dota on mobile? Anyway, whatever sort of games you can play on your mobile device, you'd be able to stream them through Omelette Arcade, even if they don't necessarily come up on the list that they give you when you first like log on, because it can scan the different apps on your phone, including TikTok. You can stream TikTok if you wanted to. I don't personally. But yeah, you can also add games if it doesn't recognize them. So I have a game on my phone called Fits. I mean, it's a very strange name, but it's a game where you have to like match 3, but it's like different because you have to like swap things around, but the boards aren't squares, they're like weird geometric shapes. It's actually quite cool, but I'm stuck on level 12, so I was thinking, would it be nice to possibly stream it one time to see if people care how I can't pass level 12, because it just always gives me no moves left. I don't know, people have gotten past level 12, so I'm obviously doing something incredibly wrong. But yeah, like sabotaging myself. I'm probably just not as good at match 3 games as... No, I actually understand that I'm not good at match 3 games, which is weird because match 3 games are actually quite accessible. Like, they don't require some sort of logical thinking or lateral thinking, logic puzzle type crap to go along with or anything like that. Although it kind of is like that, it's just not based on language or words or maths, to say the least. I don't think it... Okay, maybe there might be a bit of maths involved, but I don't know what sort of maths would be involved with swapping things over. It's just straight up puzzle stuff without, like, there's no language barrier there, like where you might have some misunderstanding about stuff, but still. Yeah, Fits. That's Fits with a Z, so it's FITZ. Yeah. I think you can find games like it on wellgames.com. So that's WELL games.com. That's where I used to play them. I think because Flash is like being discontinued, you can't play them on there anymore. So I think you might actually only be able to play them if you download them off Google Play. I think I did play like one of them before. Anyway, Mysteries was my favorite one because that one was a hidden object puzzle, but you had to find like different numbers or letters. It depends what type of mysteries, with a Z on the end as well, which version you're playing. But yeah, those were fun games. I spent too much time in secondary school playing those games. Yeah, that along with Gaia Online and RuneScape and Adventure Quest. Didn't play as much of Mecha Quest. Or is it Mech Quest? I really can't remember. But yeah, a lot of Miniclip. Oh my goodness, please tell me if you have ever played games on Miniclip. Oh my god. Or Xylom.com. Oh my, what was it? .co.uk. Xylom, either way. That one is ZYLOM. Yeah. That website's kind of defunct. I mean, a lot of their original games are like gone, and I don't know where you'd actually be able to find them again, which upsets me because I think it was a couple months ago because, you know, quarantine, you're like, oh, what are the things that I used to enjoy before the world turns itself upside down? You would go onto Xylom and search for Mirror Magic, Find the Difference game, which creeped me the fuck out when I was a child. But I really wanted to play it again because just nostalgia. And also there was another game called Super Collapse Puzzle Gallery. Those games, I can't find them. I think I found an entry for Super Collapse Puzzle Gallery on the original game developer's website, but you have to pay for it, which is fine, but the price is still like 20 something pounds or something, and I'm just like, what? This game is older than how many years I've been an adult. How can you... Okay, so I'm 24 now, so I've technically been an adult for 6 years. It's definitely older than that. But, like, this game has been out, like, since mid-2000s, I'd say. At least. So it's actually crazy that I would be paying, like, upwards of 25-ish pounds for it. And I'm not even sure if it would work. I don't know if my money is actually going towards getting the game. Their website looked a bit funky. It might even have been, like, just completely defunct. But it felt like it would have been really sketchy to buy it off there. So I just decided, you know what, no. And also I can't afford it because I don't have money. So I left that well alone. But it would have been really nice to play Super Collapse Puzzle Gallery. I did manage to find a game by, I think, the same developers. They made like a Google Play, I'm going to say that, an App Store version, I'll say, because that will cover all bases. Hopefully it's actually on like Apple's App Store as well. What is it called? Let me unlock my phone real quick. The title that I have on here is Collapse Puzzle Gallery. Yeah, so the one that I mentioned was Super Collapse Puzzle Gallery. So this is just Collapse Puzzle Gallery, but it's so fun. The music's cute. I could also stream that on Omelette Arcade, but I've not decided to just yet. Because I don't know. There's no true reason, but it could be a plan for the future. But yeah, sporadic streams here and there because I guess I can do that, and it's a fun way to just, you know, jump into a project without thinking, oh, I'm gonna have to edit this, I'm gonna have to proofread this. It's just me being authentic in the moment, which is what I'm trying to do with this episode, because me being authentic and in the moment is much better than me, like, trying to overly edit myself into someone that I'm not. And I feel like I've completely missed the point of a podcast that's supposed to be not to sound narcissistic, but all about me. It's supposed to be my podcast, my life, my podcast. Me as authentically as possible. And I feel like I got to that point of realization because of the script that I recorded for the 1 year anniversary video of glassofaj.com. Yes, this website is a year old. What's over a year old? It's a year and a month old now, because obviously I'm late on everything that I've ever produced. But that is the main reason why I've not uploaded anything in over a month. It was because I was focused on this supposed anniversary YouTube video that I was going to make, to basically say that I'm happy that I did this, if that makes sense. That I have a creative outlet of sorts and I'm able to express myself in a way that's different to, I don't know, screaming for eternity into my pillow. But yeah, I realized within that it was like, holy crap, if I have a line that's basically, hey, this is me as authentic as I can be, and I'm not being authentic, there's something wrong. And a year is a great turning point for me to be like, hey, maybe I should make this site more me, because that's always been my aim, to like make it more of myself but in a digital form, if that makes sense. But also, if you don't know me as a person, it would help if you did, by me showing you that. So that's the whole point. That's what I'm getting at. I don't know if any of this is basically making sense or being clear enough, but yeah, I'm basically trying to be my best self, live my best life, but do it as authentically as possible and be able to express that. Yeah, I don't know. Constructing sentences is actually quite difficult at 2 a.m. This 2:30 a.m. That's what we're approaching. Oof. Okay. Another thing that I've been doing in this little period of not posting anything on glassofaj.com is using an app called Storyfire. I have written a blog post, but I've not actually finished it yet, to talk about it. But it's basically YouTube's next big rival. Not really. I still don't feel like it'll overtake it, but because YouTube seems like one of those things that's too big to fail, because it's been around for so long. It's owned by Google. It's huge. Even though there are so many problems with it, that doesn't mean other sites that are video sharing sites would be exempt from those problems. And basically, I decided, someone mentioned Storyfire in like someone else's video, like in the comment section of someone's video on YouTube, they mentioned Storyfire, and I was like, okay, let me go check out Storyfire as a video sharing platform. And the problem that I came across was that the app doesn't work on my phone very well, and I feel like that's probably because of the phone I have. I have a Huawei P Smart. I think I pronounced that wrong because my mouth doesn't pronounce things right sometimes. Yeah, I have a phone that's not as common in my region, even though the site is American anyway, but like Huawei phones aren't necessarily phones that are very popular in the Western world anyway. So there probably isn't as much app support, and I'm surprised that I can use a variety of apps on my phone anyway. So yeah, there's a problem with logging in using my phone number. So I used my phone number to log in because I was just like, I'm not bothered to sign up my whole email, like fuck that. Like I decided no, not to do that. So I signed up with my phone number. When I typed it in, I put a 0 in front of it, even though the area code was already asked for. Huge mistake, because when you log in with your phone number on desktop, it doesn't allow you to even press enter. Like the button just grays out. You can't click it if you put the 0 in. But if you take the 0 out at the start of your phone number, then I'm really hearing the Australian accent come through, and it's really upsetting me. If you take the 0 off your phone number, then you can click the button, but it says that I'm a user that doesn't exist. Like I need to sign up, even though my number is already in your system. The difference is a small 0 at the start, because that is how numbers are written when you're living in the place that you're living in. If you use an area code, then you would remove that 0, but you accepted my sign up with the 0 in it plus the area code, which usually works on a majority of platforms that involve logging in or using your phone number as like a verification method or something like that. So it's just crazy how it just doesn't work. But I guess maybe that's because those bigger companies, those more experienced companies, have a failsafe to make sure that if someone types in their phone number quote unquote incorrectly by including the 0 when the area code has already been asked for. I say area code, country code, that's what I mean. So for the UK it's plus 44. For like the US I think it's +1 or something like that. So if I was in the US, my phone number wouldn't even begin with the 0. So I think that's what the issue is. Because US phone numbers don't have that 0. A lot of European numbers I think have the 0 in front. So because they think, oh no, there's a 0 in front of it, that shouldn't be there, that's a completely different number. So when I type it without the 0, they're like, nope, different number completely, not the right one, you're a new user, please sign up. So yeah, I've not been able to explore the app as much as I wanted to, and I have my opinions about it already, even though I haven't like really explored it. But from what I can see, it's not an app that I can see myself actually contributing to that much. But I did write a story on there. So Storyfire, you can upload videos once you're granted access. You have to like be verified for it first. But you can also write social posts. So like if you wanted to tweet out something, quote unquote tweet, because it's not Twitter. If you wanted to post something for your community, you would be able to do that. So you could type something up, post a picture. I think you can post videos that way, but it would be your Storyfire videos if you wanted to do that. And you can also write stories. So people do fictional stories on there. They also do like sort of bloggy stories. I went for a sort of bloggy story because I have not written like an actual fictional story since I'd say like secondary school. And I feel like maybe I should get back into that. Fictional stories are fun. You can make anything in the world happen. Yes, I should get back into that. But yeah, I wrote basically a story about how... I wrote a piece. It's a piece. About how the pandemic has basically put me back into my old ways of never leaving the house. But it's on a much worse and larger scale now because there's actually like a real reason why I probably shouldn't be gallivanting over London, if that makes sense. So yeah, I don't know if I'll ever be the same again. So that's really put another spanner in the works of job searching, just to bring it back to the whole concept that my website started on. The whole job searching thing is made more difficult because I'm thinking, hey, maybe I actually want to, work either remotely, like work from home, or like work within the town that I live in, because I don't want to have to travel so far and have to, necessarily put myself at a higher risk of catching COVID-19. So ideally, I would like to just chill at home and work that way because it's actually more comfortable to do that as well. Like there's less like stress of thinking, I actually have to prepare myself to go outside and experience life in a post-COVID world. It's not post-COVID yet, but like in the presence of, in the time of Corona. That's what I'm basically trying to say. Because in the wonderful before times, I would only worry about regular germs that wouldn't necessarily kill me, but it would make me sick. Yeah, or like people being rude or getting into dangerous situations without really realizing it. Like, yeah, London's a crazy place either way when you think about it. And I'm not necessarily someone who's like a country bumpkin or someone who's like lived outside of a big city. I've lived in London my whole life. never involved myself with traveling to Central all the time and like doing fun stuff all the time because there were constraints within my own like thought process of things like, oh, going outside, that seems dangerous. Which was picked up from my mum because she's very like overprotective and worries about everything. But also there was like the financial barrier of like not actually having enough money to hang out with people and whatnot, which yeah, that was very real in university because like you'd only have so much time to do like a part-time job or anything to even supplement the student loan that you would get. So yeah, basically I wrote a Storyfire piece about how COVID-19 is a bitch. That was the title. COVID-19 is a bitch. And I feel like that title might have actually put people off because they probably think I'm just some like whiny little bitch who's like, oh, I don't want to wear a mask. Oh, people shouldn't even like talk about this. It's a conspiracy. People aren't dying from this disease. It's a hoax. Those people are actually the most insensitive creatures on this planet, and I hate them dearly. How can you even come across the idea that um okay, I can understand why you'd come across that idea because who trusts the government in their country? Fully, at least. Because it's like crazy to think okay, it's not crazy because I feel like okay, it's crazy. I'm fighting with myself right now, but like the concept of thinking the government is going to make everyone suffer for their own amusement or something crazy, and they're going to make something up and make sure that everyone is suffering together to keep the ruse up. Why would you do that? This is like, if anything, it would be a case of making people in probably most likely lower socioeconomic backgrounds suffer the most, and then rich people would just be fine. They could just chill, hang out, do life the way they want to, but other people wouldn't be able to do that. I'm trying to think. This is like, okay, basically, I'm upset that the world has become some sort of post-apocalyptic fantasy world, um, because of this virus. And it's kind of weird how people are like, oh, it's all fake and whatnot, but like, there are people who can vouch for it, saying that, hey, some of my family members have passed away due to this virus, blah blah blah, wear a fucking mask. And I feel like it's really annoying to be the person who has to prove something by expressing the fact that you have gone through this pain. Like, you shouldn't have to prove it to people. People shouldn't be questioning stuff so much in this aspect because there's like so much reporting and evidence going on, like going around and whatnot. So it's like, how are you not getting this? How are you thinking that it's all fake and whatnot? And then there's also the concept of, I don't care if I catch COVID-19. I'll get sick and I'll get better. I'm healthy. I'm strong. That's all well and good, my friend. But if you catch it and then you pass it on to someone else unknowingly and whatnot, that person could be incredibly vulnerable, and if they're exposed to it, they could die. Why would you want that responsibility on your head? Why would you want to be like, and okay, I'm not going to say a murderer, but I just said it. Why would you want to be someone who's responsible for someone else getting incredibly ill or like dying when you know you could have prevented it, but you went against it because you were thinking, oh no, this isn't real, or no, if I catch it, it's totally fine, I'll recover. Yeah, great for thinking about yourself, but you're not only a citizen of your country or global citizen, you have to care about everyone else. It's not just you, because you're not the only person in the world. There are over 7 billion people. So I don't really get why you think that you getting sick is totally fine. Because, oh my goodness, even before we knew about this new coronavirus, when people get like the flu or like a cold during like winter time and whatnot, how do people still not get that you can literally spread it to everyone even if you're not like trying to? Obviously, it's not as easy to spread, but let's say you live in the same household as someone who has like a cold or something, and then like a few days later you realize you've got a cold. Where do you think you got it from? Obviously, there are like different places that you could have gotten it from. You could have caught it when you were traveling on public transport. You could have caught it when you were using the same keyboard as one of your co-workers at work or something. I totally get it. There are different places, but when you think about it, there may be like a closer connection with you actually catching it from the person that you're living with, because you're in such close contact with them for at least a few hours of the day. So I don't understand how you couldn't make the connection there and then also apply it to this, to coronavirus. I don't know. I feel like it's a case of common sense is not common. Where it's like, oh yeah, I caught the cold off my boyfriend, but I'm not going to catch COVID and pass it to him. Or if I do catch it, I won't pass it to him, it's fine. Even though he's got lung problems. I just don't... Oof. But already like far off topic, just chatting to myself technically about how annoying people can be. But the whole concept of that story was I'm annoyed with myself, I guess, that it's just I've realized that there's a pattern of me not being able to leave the house for whatever fucking reason, whether that is the case of a virus that could make me very ill and people around me ill, or it's the case of me being afraid to leave the house because I'm afraid of how people would judge me, or I don't want to interact with housemates that I live with. These are all reasons why I just never bothered to leave my bedroom or to leave the house that often, because I didn't want to face those fears over and over and over again. So that's the concept of the piece. I'm really bad at titling things apparently, because it just hasn't... I mean, maybe it's because I'm a new user on the platform and I'm not really following that many people, so there aren't that many people who'd be able to see it. The one person who did actually read through it a bit and then leave a comment basically left some anti-YouTube propaganda on it as a comment. I think it was like, fuck YouTube and fuck H3H3, who is a YouTuber who does like commentary and whatnot, but yeah, Storyfire has become one of those platforms that a lot of, not YouTube rejects, I'd just say YouTubers who wanted to defect from the platform, they decided to join Storyfire. It's become their like new home. I'm not sure if they actually post on there more than they do on YouTube, or if they just post some things on there, or if they post everything on there. But yeah, there are people like there are loads of people I've never heard of, but the two that have come to mind right now are Keemstar and Leafy is here. Leafy's channel got like removed from YouTube for breaking community guidelines or something to do with like cyberbullying for like Pokimane. Yeah. I never really had like a really strong opinion about Leafy. I just knew that people didn't like him, which meant I kind of didn't like him just because, you know, following the whole concept of group mentality. I don't know why I decided to be like, oh, Leafy is here, is not really that good of a YouTuber. I don't know why I came up with that like sort of thought process, because I hadn't watched any of his videos, or maybe, no, I might have watched one or two, but like I didn't really have the chance to form an opinion. I used to watch H3H3, but I didn't really like continue watching Ethan and Healer for like, I don't I didn't watch them for that long. I feel like I stopped watching them a few years ago now. So the whole fact that there's like a sort of beef going on between H3H3 and Leafy is here is like weird. There's all sorts of drama. I'm not involved. Mostly because I kind of don't care about those two creators. But yeah, those are the types of people who are on Storyfire. People who have quite polarizing personalities, or they're quite they're able to seem a bit more anarchistic compared to like your average fashion blogger or something. Yeah, they're more, I'd say, not explosive or anything like that, because I can't really speak for them, but they're people who don't always rub everyone the right way, if that makes sense. So yeah, those are the types of personalities that I've seen appear on Storyfire. The couple of YouTubers that I do follow anyway, who happen to appear on Storyfire as like new content creators, because of course they got like their ability to post videos like unlocked pretty much almost immediately, I'd say, because of their presence on YouTube being quite big. They haven't posted that much on Storyfire, which leads me to think they're focusing on YouTube because they know that's a surefire way to, keep their audience entertained, to continue to build their following and know that they'll always like have, well, not always, but like there's a more steadier stream of income from there, and there are like more users on there. I think there's also, I think, a clause in the Storyfire contract that when you post videos, they can only be Storyfire exclusive. You can't post them anywhere else, which is crazy, because imagine that. Imagine being restricted to one platform that isn't really that big yet. So it's like, wow, I'm really limiting myself, guys. So you're going to have to choose what is exclusive to Storyfire, and what you would rather post on YouTube or another video sharing website. Although there aren't that many that are actively competing. Like, I'd say the only other websites that I feel like have stood the test of time against YouTube but still aren't as big as YouTube are Vimeo and Dailymotion. There are probably others, but what is Rumble? Rumble. Is that a video distributing platform or video sharing platform? I don't know. But, or Facebook video. It's another one that's quite big, but still not on the same sort of wavelength as YouTube, because it's such a... Facebook is really difficult to navigate these days. It's just got too much on it. I feel like there needs to be a way to like clear that stuff up, because you could literally lose a whole day on Facebook, but just trying to figure out what things are. But yeah, I still need to get to know Storyfire more, but I'm definitely going to post that blog post at some point this month. And also, you can find me on Storyfire at Simple Thimbles. On most platforms as Simple Thimbles, but yeah. I should probably wrap this up because I'm approaching an hour of rambling and I don't know how you're faring right now. I'm so sorry that you managed to get through all of this without feeling too terrible about it. I'm concerned that you did go through this whole thing. I feel like what I have been saying has been a bit weird. And I feel like I catch myself rambling and then say, basically, the point I was making was this. And I hope that didn't confuse you too much or anything like that. But I'm glad you stayed for the 58, almost 59 minutes I've been speaking for. But hopefully, even though I haven't been posting stuff openly on glassofaj.com, I've still been doing stuff otherwise. So I've now realised that I've actually done stuff and I shouldn't be upset by not doing stuff and then posting it on my website, because I've posted stuff elsewhere. And I have that, I have videos or like anything on Twitch and Omelette Arcade that I've done and the existence of blog post drafts and whatnot. I've not been complacent in the sense of following my passion of being an online content creator. I know people hate the concept of content creation. Not the concept, the phrase. They hate the phrase. They hate the phrase content creator. They think, wait, doesn't that mean you just make shit? Like, I'm pretty sure that's the case. Of some people, they're just like, no, I hate being called that. I hate the word YouTuber. I hate the word TikToker. I'm just someone who makes things, and that's fine, but you could also just zhuzh it up a bit by saying I'm a content creator, because you are creating content. That is the literal title. It's not like you're saying I'm a dream materializer or something really poncy and annoying. So I feel like content creator is not necessarily humbling yourself, but it's definitely less poncy than you think. But yes, my dream of becoming someone who isn't afraid to basically share themselves online in a positive fashion or in a realistic fashion that could possibly help other people realize that their lives aren't as terrible as mine. I'm joking. But to like basically show that although I have a degree, although I'm not completely useless when it comes to computers, but I don't have like specialist knowledge, but I can use like Microsoft Office and whatnot pretty well. And I've got bunches of other like abilities, like being able to write and whatnot, like in a way that's, I feel like I can be engaging at times. You tell me, seriously, go to my website, glassofaj.com, and tell me if what I'm writing is absolute trash. I feel like maybe within the past few months it's been a bit bad, but if you look back to when I first started, it's probably a bit better. Maybe it's worse, I don't know. I'd say maybe around November, December last year, it probably would have been like my best stuff, I'd say, personally. maybe I'm just being very nostalgic about stuff that I've written in the past. I'm just like, you know what? I wrote that. Hell yeah, I wrote that. Hell yeah. But yeah, my voice is fading in and out, so it's probably best to go. Thank you for listening to this episode. Episode 5. I don't know what I'm going to call it yet, but I'm so happy that I finally decided, hey, I'm going to sit down and record a podcast episode. Although I've actually recorded a few, I've just not decided to release them because I feel like they're trash. That's a very common occurrence. I feel like I'm one of those people who starts projects but never finishes them. I could even get to a point where I do finish it, I just never like upload it. And I feel like I've never been that person before. I've always been like, hey, I have to upload it. At least I've uploaded something. But maybe it's because I had that concept based on school assignments and like just being able to submit something and get as much of a grade above pass as I can. Which has been the case a few times in the past, but it's not always the case. But, you know, if a deadline is quickly approaching, you have to send that crap in. Like, there's no excuse. Because after that, you are just limiting yourself to 40%. There's no hope after that, unless you get an extension or something. But once you submit it, there's no chance of appealing it. So, yeah, basically, I stop myself from doing things that I feel like are supposed to make me happy, or from doing things that show progress for myself, not necessarily for other people, because other people don't matter in this case. It's about how I feel about myself. If I feel like progress is pressing publish on a blog post once a month, that is what I want to do for myself. And if I don't do that, then I do feel bad, because it's something I want to do for myself. But then there's also the pressure that I have put on myself, but it includes the fact that I have, albeit a small, but I have an audience of people who at least care enough to look a bit at what I've written or made or whatever. So I kind of feel bad for like not updating them about stuff, and I feel like that's also what social media is for, and I'm not really as good at using it as I probably could be. So that's definitely something for me to improve upon. But that's what the whole second year of me having this website is for. It's for improving on what I've done in the past, but also not losing the same sort of energy that I had in the beginning. But yeah, you know, when I was posting once a week, that was, oof, I can't even remember those times that well when I had the energy to do that sort of stuff. So if I still keep that same sort of positive drive and ambition, then I should see what I want to see in my website. But yes, as I keep rambling on, I should close this off. Again, thank you for listening, and I hope you have a great day. I have been and always will be Ade, and I bid you farewell. Stay thirsty. Oh, I forgot to say my socials. Okay, I'm basically at Glass of AJ on Instagram. What else? Oh no. On Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube, it's Glass of AJ, as 3 separate words. I am _ GOAJ on Twitter, but I don't post on there enough, do I? Oh no. The question is, did I say my handle wrong? Let me double check. It might be different. How can I not? That's how much I don't use Twitter. That is absolutely hilarious when you think about it. I'm literally just double checking now. But let me just wait for it to load before I'm like, yeah, what I said was completely fine. Oh dear. I mean, I've also got a Twitter for Simple Thimbles if you care about that. It's Simple Thimbles. That is the handle. But the S and the T in Simple and Thimbles are capitalized. So that's even more annoying, actually. Okay. Yeah, it's _ GOAJ. Cool. Because Glass of AJ was taken on there by someone who doesn't use Twitter, but then I don't use Twitter, so what's the difference? Either way, thank you for listening, and I'll leave you alone now. Thanks.